Title: Strategic Laws of Power and Survival, a Legal Philosophical Analysis of Influence. This lecture analyzes the covert principles used by high-performing individuals to ascend social hierarchies, maintain influence, and avoid institutional vulnerability. 1. Master yourself before challenging power. In any vertical power structure, perceived inferiority sustains hierarchy. To ascend undetected, one must avoid eclipsing superiors, intellectually or socially. The Stoics advised interior mastery before outward conquest, a lesson ignored at great historical cost by figures such as Galileo and Copernicus. In legal and political ecosystems, power is preserved by emotion, not reason. Hence, strategic invisibility often ensures survival and long-term influence more effectively than untempered brilliance. Footnote: This section examines the political consequences of undermining authority, with reference to historical suppression of intellectual outliers. 2. Transform opposition into strength. Opposition, when properly reframed, becomes leverage. Strategic actors repurpose adversaries into allies by reorienting hostility into aligned interest. In classical military doctrine and modern diplomacy alike, enemies who convert by choice wield more durable loyalty than inherited allies. The Stoics advocate rational use of all forces, including antagonism, which when transformed, creates more secure networks than those built on assumed fidelity. Footnote: This section explores strategic reframing of adversaries as cooperative agents to enhance organizational resilience. 3. Conceal the path, reveal the result. Visibility of intent invites counter-strategy. When objectives become predictable, opponents construct barriers. Law, finance, and warfare reward misdirection. The most enduring power structures, from Rothschild banking secrecy to Buffett's opacity, function through information asymmetry. Concealment of purpose increases the force of execution, precisely because it negates anticipation. Footnote: This section evaluates how strategic opacity enhances decision-making power by reducing adversarial foresight. 4. Guard your words, guard your power. Verbal economy is not merely etiquette, it is strategic armor. Excess speech exposes pattern, motive, and vulnerability. The Stoics advocated discretion not as avoidance but as power protection. In any litigious or adversarial setting, what is said can and will be used against you. Therefore, silence is not passivity, it is prevention. Footnote: This section underscores the legal and psychological liabilities inherent in overdisclosure. 5. Let your comeback echo loudly. Failure is not a verdict but a vantage point. The powerful do not merely recover, they redefine. Comebacks must be so pronounced, they rewrite the public memory of one's fall. In legal and institutional memory, the most memorable shifts occur not from sustained effort but from dramatic transformation. Return not as a revision, but as a revolution. Footnote: This section addresses the psychological and socio-political importance of post-defeat rebranding. 6. Be so real they can't ignore you. Invisibility is irrelevance. Regardless of intrinsic merit, absence from perception equates to institutional silence. Power systems operate on narrative visibility. Even adversaries maintain your relevance if they cannot ignore you. Emotional provocation, love, fear, awe, ensures mental residency, and mental residency precedes influence. Footnote: This section explains how visibility and emotional salience construct reputational permanence. 7. Lead the vision, own the outcome. In hierarchical structures, attribution outweighs contribution. The executor is remembered only if the architect names them. Leadership is not operational labor but directional authorship. In any project, legal, political, or entrepreneurial, the name attached to the outcome commands legacy. Footnote: this section elaborates on the strategic separation between labor and legacy through narrative control. 8. Draw people in without chasing. Pursuit diminishes perceived value. The act of chasing denotes lack. Strategic actors cultivate gravitational pull rather than linear motion. Absence, used wisely, becomes magnetic. The Stoics teach inner alignment, in that stillness lies influence. Build environments that make your engagement a sought-after event, not a routine offering. Footnote: this section describes passive authority and the dynamics of perceived exclusivity in influence building. 9. Let action silence the noise. Argument seeks validation, action asserts reality. Discursive conflict dilutes authority, but irrefutable outcomes consolidate it. The Stoics emphasized control over one's interior life, and from that core, results emerge as declarations. Noise is temporary. Performance is archival. Footnote: this section analyzes how operational output nullifies criticism more effectively than rhetorical engagement. 10. Protect your energy from the unstable. Contamination is not always physical, it is energetic, emotional, and mental. Stability is a resource. Just as law shields against invasion, boundaries shield against corrosion. Some individuals are entropy incarnate. Inclusion of such instability in one's strategic space guarantees systemic deterioration. Footnote: this section illustrates the need for energetic boundaries as a tool for professional and personal preservation. 11. Become irreplaceable, not just useful. Utility is replaceable. Structural necessity is not. When a system cannot function without you, power is sustained not through charisma but through infrastructural integration. Retain exclusive knowledge, proprietary tools, or relational capital that renders your absence unmanageable. Footnote: this section distinguishes between perceived helpfulness and systemic indispensability as foundations of durable influence. 12. Disarm with strategic kindness. Aggression reveals. Kindness obscures. Generosity invites disclosure, dissolves suspicion, and lowers guards. As exemplified by Genghis Khan's duality, gifts before domination, controlled goodwill is a tool of conquest. The Stoics endorse acts guided by clarity, not emotion, and thus generosity is power, not softness. Footnote: this section explores the weaponization of kindness through calculated displays of goodwill. 13. Align with self-interest, not sympathy. People move when they benefit. Not for justice, loyalty, or truth, but gain. Self-interest, not virtue, is the currency of decisions. Julius Caesar understood this: offer value, not virtue. If you want to mobilize others, make yourself integral to their elevation. Footnote: this section critiques altruistic expectation in favor of incentive-based persuasion strategies. 14. Weaponize trust strategically. Trust is not affection, it is access. Those who confide grant you tactical advantage. The Stoics urge detachment from illusion. Blind loyalty is perhaps the most dangerous. Historical manipulators secured empires by first securing trust. Trust reveals, and what is revealed can be used. Footnote: this section addresses trust as a strategic gateway to information acquisition and influence control. 15. Use absence to increase your worth. Ubiquity breeds familiarity. Familiarity lowers perceived value. Scarcity, however, stimulates demand. Legends are remembered not for constant presence, but for the vacuum they leave behind. Controlled absence, like a rare event, heightens interest and amplifies return. Footnote: this section discusses the psychology of scarcity and the economics of selective engagement. 16. Outsource the burden, retain the control. Power is sustained not by doing everything, but by making others believe they must. Strategic delegation ensures your mental and physical capacity remain unburdened, while authority and outcome still bear your imprint. The Stoics emphasized discipline over exhaustion, knowing that exhaustion is not a virtue but a liability. Retain command of direction, vision, and decision, outsource the rest. Let others manage the chaos while you architect the empire. Footnote: this section outlines the practice of strategic delegation as a means to preserve influence and decision-making authority. 17. Win the narrative before the battle begins. Facts lose to stories. Truth loses to framing. In law, in war, in media, whoever defines the context controls the conflict. A clever strategist seeds the narrative long before the first move is made. The Stoics prized clarity of mind, and clarity of perception is shaped through language. Speak before your opponent can, define the terms, own the frame, and let your adversaries fight on your terrain. Footnote: this section emphasizes the role of preemptive framing and narrative control in shaping outcomes across disciplines. 18. Study systems, not just people. People are emotional, erratic, and replaceable. Systems, on the other hand, preserve power. While others react to individuals, you must observe patterns, legal, social, and institutional. The Stoic mindset teaches mastery over externals through internal calibration. Thus, learn the structure, map the incentives, find the keystone, because when you can manipulate the system, people become predictable byproducts. Footnote: this section advocates for understanding institutional and systemic mechanics as superior to personal analysis alone. 19. Destroy without drawing the sword. Total victory rarely comes from conflict, it comes from erosion. Subtly undermine without confrontation. Influence the environment, reshape the incentives, and allow your opponent to implode under pressure they cannot trace back to you. The Stoics understood subtlety as strength. Let the world see you as still while the ground beneath your adversaries collapses. Footnote: this section addresses the concept of non-confrontational dominance via indirect, systemic destabilization. 20. Obscure the source of your power. When people understand what makes you powerful, they begin to calculate how to dismantle it. True control lies not in the visibility of power but in its mystery. Maintain multiple fronts, appear dependent on one while your real strength flows from another. The Stoics remind us, what is unseen cannot be attacked. Be the ghost in the machine, not the banner on the hill. Footnote: this section warns against transparency in power dynamics and advocates obscuring one's true leverage points. 21. Use time as a weapon. The impatient are vulnerable. Those who rush to speak, act, or strike reveal themselves. But the strategic mind uses time like a slow-acting poison, waiting for weakness, fatigue, or error. Patience is not passivity, it is a tool of psychological dominance. The Stoics wielded delay as a discipline. Let others burn fuel quickly while you move slowly, and precisely. Footnote: this section presents time as a psychological and tactical instrument to outlast and destabilize competitors. 22. Extract value from every interaction. Every person, conversation, or challenge holds embedded value, insight, leverage, or reputation. The untrained eye sees inconvenience, the strategic eye sees opportunity. The Stoics instructed followers to treat adversity as fuel. Ask, what can I extract from this moment that sharpens me, funds me, arms me? You are either being drained or being sharpened, never neutral. Footnote: This section promotes extracting usable advantage from all life encounters, regardless of form or intent. 23. Turn emotion into ammunition. Emotions are not weaknesses, but raw materials. Anger, envy, grief, these can corrode the undisciplined or fuel the elite. The Stoics did not reject emotion, they transmuted it. Instead of denying your pain, mold it into strategy. Let rage become focus. Let heartbreak become clarity. Convert your inner fire into fuel for precise execution. Footnote: this section repositions emotion not as dysfunction but as fuel for disciplined, strategic transformation. 24. Make fear work for you. The perception of danger commands more obedience than danger itself. Fear is not just a response, it is a signal, a motivator, and a weapon. The Stoics acknowledged fear as a necessary compass. Do not aim to be liked, aim to be respected. Let people associate your name with consequence, not comfort. When deployed ethically, fear becomes the silent enforcer of boundaries. Footnote: this section explains how fear, strategically managed, serves as a deterrent and amplifier of influence. 25. Control the exit before you enter. Never enter any arrangement, legal, personal, or financial, without pre-designing your exit. Power lies not in permanence, but in preparation. The Stoics advise detachment, which includes the freedom to walk away. Whether it's a contract, a relationship, or a war, your strength is measured by the clarity of your escape route. Footnote: this section teaches that control over one's exit strategy determines real autonomy and reduces vulnerability.